Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on how you as a health coach make nutrition happen. I'm just so honored, pleased that you're here with us. And we are going to talk about nutrition and coaching, why they are a good match. And then we will have plenty of time at the end to answer the questions that were submitted. In case we don't get to your question or you think of one while you're watching, we will be happy after the talk to answer those questions. So this is something that I am very, very passionate about food and also the wonderful things that you can do as a coach around diet, around nutrition. And I also have the co-founder of FMCA, Elise Wagner, and she's with us tonight. And Elise and I got together way back in 2014. And we were in this tiny office. I was a local psychologist. Elise was working with me. She also has training in nutrition. And we came together, we were seeing people locally, and we just had this big idea. And we decided that we would take a chance. And so the Institute for Functional Medicine was really interested. They're our collaboration partner. And so we began before we were ready. And now I'm thrilled to say that our program has grown, and it is attracting people who share one common characteristic. They have a calling to serve. They're passionate about helping others. And we believe that coaching is needed now more than ever. And our mission is to train thousands of coaches to really help people get healthier, to live happy lives full of energy and vitality. And every day I wake up with that mission in mind, to serve people who come to us to study, people who graduate from our program, and how can we help them to go out and become successful coaches. So we're going to talk tonight about all things related to nutrition. And I know that's a subject that is on your minds. Can I work as a health coach in this nutrition area? So let's get started. I have some formal slides that I have prepared. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about how nutrition can fit into your coaching business. And can you talk about nutrition if you have no formal training, whether in training in nutrition or even training in healthcare in general? We're also going to talk about the unique way that we teach nutrition. So what we find is that people who come to us have a big mission. They want to help people lead happy or healthier lives. And we give them the tools and the skills to do that, to become certified health coaches. So we believe that health coaches are central to helping people develop and sustain those healthy eating habits. And the good news is you do not need a formal degree in nutrition. You also don't need a background in healthcare. Some of our best coaches have no training in healthcare in a formal way. They might be career changers. They might be people who have retired from education, for example, as teachers. But they do have a common thread. You do need a calling to serve others. Nutrition is really a key part of our curriculum, and we truly believe that it is integral to the health coaching process. When we designed the curriculum, we didn't look at each piece in isolation. In other words, it's not like we're going to say, okay, we teach nutrition and it's separate, it's out in a separate corner by itself. But it is integrated with the other parts of our curriculum: functional medicine principles, positive psychology, mind-body medicine. And overarching concept is the idea that you use your coaching skills to help people in all of these areas. So we see it as an integrated system. So I'm going to explain this in detail. So first, there's functional medicine and functional nutrition. So Mark Hyman, who is an advocate for FMCA, has said repeatedly that the most powerful decision we make every single day is what to put the end of your fork. So it's powerful, food as medicine. And it's so powerful that this is the matrix that is a key part of functional medicine. And you will learn about the matrix. And you will learn that at the bottom, there are 5 key, what's called the modifiable lifestyle factors. And nutrition is one of them. And it's not, again, just in isolation, but the other factors are equally important. And that would be stress and exercise and movement and the importance of sleep and relaxation, the importance of relationships. And positive psychology is another key part of what we teach, and it is also integrated with nutrition. So we focus on what's right. That's key to positive psychology, and reinforce character strengths. So what might this look like? Well, this is the functional medicine timeline. It's somebody's story that's mapped out. And what clients are doing, what we are guiding them to do, is to put their character strengths in this timeline. These are these strengths that they've used throughout their life. And if they're wanting to make changes to their diet, then they're going to be using their signature strengths. I just named a few of them here, like creativity and perhaps cooking, or love of learning, to want to learn more about food facts, for example, persevere when you have obstacles, to just keep going if you ate something that you didn't intend to one day, to not let that derail you, but to keep on. Similarly, we integrate mind-body medicine principles, and you will learn a lot of different strategies that come from this field. We integrate them with nutrition. So for example, you can't talk about somebody's eating habits. You can't just have them do a food journal and talk about micronutrients and macronutrients. You have to take into account and ask the kind of questions where they're going to think about the stress response, and teaching them, if they're open to it, strategies like relaxed breathing or mindful eating, so that you don't have this happening. So this is really crucial to understand. It's not just eat this and don't eat that, but it's really what we call the really crucial part in terms of why you're eating and when you're eating and how you're eating. So all of that leads to the importance of a coach approach for nutrition. So coaching, what does that mean? Well, it's a client-centered process. The coach supports the client's journey, and that journey is for them to take charge of their lives. That's the objective. And we help people come to the decisions on their own, decisions that they believe are right for them. And that means accepting people where they're at. And when they feel heard, when they feel understood, that in itself is so, so powerful. We're helping people who may want to change, but habits are so hard to change. So coaches, they're behavior change specialists. That is what's powerful about being a coach. How do you do that? Well, first and foremost, you listen. You're a good listener and listen mindfully. And you ask questions you show curiosity and impactful questions. And that will lead to problem solving. So the client on their own is going to come up with the solutions. And celebrating wins, it's so important, no matter how tiny. where they are acknowledging that win, and you're helping them celebrate. You're also holding them accountable in whatever way they may want to be held accountable. You're offering emotional support, and I can't say this enough. This is crucial. It's crucial that your clients experience this feeling of not being alone. When they have a coach, when they have a personal cheerleader, then they are heard. They are not alone. And so a coach is not a therapist. This is not psychotherapy. The coaching relationship, though, is very powerful, acknowledging uncomfortable feelings, acknowledging the whole range of feelings is really important. So that's why there's no separation, the way we teach nutrition, between nutrition and the psychology of eating. What do we mean by that? Well, it's really helping clients find root causes. Root causes are the basis of functional medicine principle, where practitioners are digging down to find the root causes of why people are sick. So here we're looking at why somebody eats, how they eat, when they eat, and all of the factors that influence these decisions. And it comes from family, it comes from friends, comes from our culture, comes from society at large. It comes from marketing, for example, where we might be influenced to make a particular food choice. And exploring these with clients can be really, really powerful, because we're really looking at what are they thinking about, the underlying thoughts and emotions that drive the decisions that they make. And here's probably the question you will hear very frequently as a coach. What should I eat? And Mark Hyman even has books about it. Now, what the heck should I eat? Because it's so confusing. One day you'll hear one study, one dietary approach is in, the next day that's out and something else is in. So it's confusing. So what to do? Well, you guide clients to become the CEOs of their own diet. So rather than the coach saying, this is what you should do, or this is what you should eat, you help them arrive at that decision. So you're not ignoring their question, because people want to be heard and you want to acknowledge what they're asking about. But by the same token, we guide them that they have the power all along to make those choices. And you respect their intelligence to know what's right for them. Because they can become food detectives. They can really dig in to say, like, how they felt when they ate a particular food. They can track it, they can keep journals. And there are also, fortunately, just new ways that's getting even more sophisticated, tracking devices where somebody can see, oh, every time I eat this, then I get this reading on my continuous blood sugar monitor. And that's helpful information to help them make the right decision. And there's a broader role that I believe you as coaches will play, and it's getting increasingly more important. You're educators. You have a lot of knowledge, and you can be ambassadors for change. And so you can use all of your talents and all of the information that you have, and you can really partner with people because you have empathy, and you can help people that they're understood and you're here to listen. And if they want to, you can help them find resources, for example, in their community. Well, how can you do that? There's many exciting ways. You can engage in community outreach. I love to hear from our graduates. I get so excited, and I know Elise does as well, when we hear what people are doing. They're doing things like giving community talks. They are organizing groups. They are writing blogs and books and cookbooks and starting their own podcasts and creating videos. So they are really making a difference, and we love to support them. So this is something that Elise and I did early on. This was, you see our aprons say, Feed Your Mind Wellness. That was what we used to be. And we were in the local community in the Chicago area. And we were partnering. The person in the middle is Dr. Leslie Mendoza Temple. She's a doctor, integrative medicine. And so we came together with her, and the chefs are from a local grocery store. And we would give community talks and demonstrations, and it was so much fun to go out, and we were really making a difference to those people who came to learn about this. In this particular case, it was back to school snacks. And there's also the possibility to go out into your community to help with wellness initiatives. There are many companies, and whether that's virtual or live, there are many things that you could do, and we have a lot of graduates working in that arena. This was Elise and I again at our attempt, and I just want to point out here that this was not successful, and many of the things that we tried didn't work. And I will acknowledge that I'm glad that initiative to go out into our local community and offer corporate wellness programs did not work. We did not get a lot of people signing up, because that led us to go on to be the founders of FMCA. But if we really wanted to focus on corporate wellness, then we would have been persistent, and we would have looked at what other ways we could let people know the services that we could offer them. So we are also, with our association with Dr. Mark Hyman, who is very involved in helping communities change and understand the impact of processed food, for example. And this was an example. This was, again, very early on, well before FMCA, but Dr. Hyman came to my community, and he was talking to a community of religious leaders about different ways that they could change their habits. So this was really psychology of eating. It was looking at getting the community together, and let's all get healthier together. And it's something that I think coaches have a big part to play in this initiative, to go out and spread the message that food is medicine. Creating groups is another way, especially virtually. There's a big demand for working in groups. You can also be of service to the medical community, and there are many, many ways that you can do this, and this is what we teach you to do. We teach you how to collaborate with practitioners, whether they're functional medicine practitioners or practitioners from the medical community at large. And we're really mindful of the importance of safe coaching, and know that you can really grow your business when you collaborate and defer to others who are the nutritional experts. So you may have clients that you're working with who have complex chronic conditions, and it's in their best interest to where you will refer them to a nutritionist, and that will be the way that you grow your business. When I was a psychologist for many years, that was how I grew my business, by collaborating and referring to people from other disciplines. So let's talk about now the content. What are we actually teaching? So we are so privileged because we're a collaboration with IFM, and their experts developed the nutritional content for IFM, and those presentations are what we base our curriculum out of for functional medicine. So this is what it looks like. First and foremost, we believe that it should be evidence-based, and IFM's content is thoroughly evidence-based. So everything that they teach is referenced. And here's just an example of some handouts that have all of the scientific articles that they're basing their nutritional content on. And you will have access to this. You'll also have access to a whole wealth of resources for clients. There's tracking tools, there's guides, there's recipes. And finally, what is it actually? It's personalized food plans. So there are a whole suite of them, and you will learn what they are, and these are educational tools. So again, it is not you as a coach that makes that decision to say, okay, Mrs. Smith, I want you to be on a ketogenic diet. That would be prescriptive. It would be telling somebody what to do. Well, not only does that approach not work from a behavior standpoint, but also it is something that is against the coach approach. So we want clients to be in charge and make that decision. And so there could be two ways that you would be using all of this information. We have some coaches who are working with doctors directly. And so if they're in that practice, doctors will be collaborating with the coach to say, this is, I think, the best plan for this individual. And sometimes you will be working in your own business and you will have the ability to use these as educational tools. Again, not prescribing and acting as the expert. So these are also available. It's really cool because there's international versions and special dietary needs as well. So whether you're working directly for medical practices or running your own business, you can make nutrition happen. And how do you do that? You do that through the coach approach. So it's not saying, I'm going to tell you what to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do, even if they think that's what they need. And they might say, just tell me a meal plan. But we know from lots of experience and lots of research out there that people don't follow it. And what do they need? They need someone who is going to be their personal cheerleader, somebody who's going to be their guide to helping them make those decisions. And when you follow that coach approach, not only is it best for the client, but it keeps you safely in the coach scope of practice. You also earn the respect of your medical colleagues. So when you are, for example, I can give you an example of how this worked for me when I was practicing as a psychologist. I would find out, everybody I saw, who their doctor was. And then I would send them a note and acknowledge and say, okay, you know, this your client has decided to engage in relaxed breathing techniques. And so it's letting them know and perhaps checking out that there might be any contraindications for that individual. And so these are some of the things that we will teach you at FMCA in a lot of detail. So we're going to dive into these areas as far as teaching you all of the different ways that you can use nutrition, but use it in a way that's best for your client and best for you as a coach. So it's an exciting time to enter the field of coaching, and we see nutrition as going hand in hand with the coaching process with all of the other areas of our curriculum. So I am going to stop there, and I know that Elise has a lot of questions that have come in, and so we're going to discuss those now.
So good afternoon or evening or morning to those of you. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for all of your questions. And even if you're just listening in, we hope that this provides a ton of value for you. So I'm going to just cover a couple of general questions, and then we're going to dig in to some of the deeper subjects here. So a lot of people asked about, you know, how long does this training take? What are the prerequisites as far as pricing, and what's the certification? So I'm going to go over those really quick, and I'm also going to share with you where you can find that information on our website. So this is a 12-month, all online, all virtual program, and no prerequisites. The only thing that we ask is that you come ready and willing to just serve, and most importantly, you have a passion. You have a passion to want to support others on their wellness journey. You do become a functional medicine certified health coach upon completion of the program, and our tuition as well as our payment plans, those are located on our website. So if you would like, you can head over to functionalmedicinecoaching.org after the webinar and there is a space where you can download our info packet. And you can also hit the Contact Us button. That's a great way to connect with our admissions team. We have admissions team members who are graduates of the program, so they know the program inside and out and can speak to that to you. And there was one question that came in about how do I choose the right program for me? This is a great discussion question for our admissions team members. They will help guide you and hopefully help you decide what the right program is for you. So I really encourage you to either call us or you can email us. The email address is right on the slide. And you can also schedule a Zoom face-to-face call. And I know I've spoken with a couple of you who are attending on the webinar. So it's a wonderful way to connect face-to-face. So first question is your coaching program only for those who are already licensed healthcare professionals?
Absolutely not. We have people who come from all walks of life. In fact, sometimes people who come as licensed professionals have a harder time because they've been trained to be those experts, the ones who say, this is the food plan I want you on. And they have a hard time shifting to the coach approach. But when they do, they realize how much more powerful that is. So we have people who are career changers. They may have been in corporate, they may have been in marketing. We have stay-at-home moms. We have a lot of educators, a lot of mental health professionals, or people who have other careers. We have a lot of stay-at-home moms, people who or people who are in retirement. So it's really all walks of life. Some people start out coaching on the side, so they're still working in their corporate job, for example, and they're pursuing their passion as coaches by starting out with a few clients on the side.
Yeah, absolutely. And another question came in. Is there a beginner level program?
We're all beginners, as they say in yoga. We want everyone starts with a beginner's mind, and even people who might be PhDs in an area of healthcare come in as a beginner's mind to really focus on curiosity, to just be open to learning. So it is there are some areas of the curriculum that might be old hat for some, and to others it's brand new. And then other areas are new to one person and not another. So it completely varies. But the good news is I have a background in learning disabilities. Years and years ago, I taught special education and realized the importance of all learning styles, all levels of learning, and to design programs that could accommodate all needs, no matter where you're starting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would also add that if the 12-month program isn't right for you, there is a ton of other, or if you're new to this entire field and you're just wanting to get a taste, no pun intended, but you can do that over on our website. And we have, if you go to functionalmedicinecoaching.org, you can hit programs, and then there are specialty courses that you can look into. There's some that are for free, some that you can pay for, but you can start to dabble and wet your palate, if you will, and see what works for you. So make sure to check those out because they're really valuable programs. So the next question is, are individual states involved in legally being able to practice, specifically in regards to nutrition?
So coaching is a gray area. Coaches are not licensed healthcare professionals. Coaches, our program and other programs, you get a certificate of completion. And then we're proud that we are an approved school by the National Board for Health and Wellness Coaching. What does that mean? It means our graduates can sit for their exam and they can become board certified. So this is a national certification. So state by state, states issue licenses to practice, and that does not include health coaching. So coaches are earning their certificate of completion from us and their board certification. And there are, from state to state, different regulations as far as how coaches can set up shop. And it's very confusing. Fortunately, we have an attorney who teaches this for us. And so we will help you with those issues. And we focus on how to help you be very confident that you are staying in what's called your scope of practice.
Absolutely. And moving over to scope of practice and staying in our lane, one of the questions that came in is, what is the best way to be sure that I'm not crossing the line between guiding my clients versus telling them what to do?
Well, first of all, the fact that you asked this question says to me that you are already gonna nail it. You are already aware that you, as a coach, that there are differences. And so kudos to you for asking the question. And so it has to do with the approach. You coaches are behavior change specialists and know how to ask questions. They put the client in the driver's seat. If a client decides on their own that they are going to try a particular way of eating, the coach will support them. Now, there may be times when it's really important to guide that individual to check it out with another a professional in a particular area. For example, if they are on a lot of different medications, then you as a health coach would want to make sure that that person has adequate medical care. And as they're on their own making dietary changes, then the doctor would need to be aware it might require some shifting in medications, for example. So we firmly believe that you will stay safe if you are connected in some way with medical practitioners, and that could be you're working directly for them. It could be that your clients, you find out who their doctors are and you are in conversation with them. That is how I did it when I was in practice. And by the way, it was how I got a lot of new referrals because it was how they learned of me in the community. And so it is a wonderful way to be respectful of others, to stay within your scope. We will also teach you how to ask questions and how to educate. And we have, the content is from the Institute for Functional Medicine and it's well referenced. And so you educate by using the information that comes from experts that's with the research to back it up.
Yeah, and I just can't underscore enough, Sandy, the open-ended questions that you learn how to ask and to gain your confidence in as you're working with clients. I think personally that's even more fun sometimes than just telling someone what to eat. You get to open up this huge conversation and people get to learn more about themselves. They have these aha moments and insights, and so do you as the coach, and it's such a rewarding process. So cannot highlight the coach.
It is so powerful when the coach comes in without a personal agenda, believing in a certain way of eating, but listens. We call that client-centered coaching, and the coach is along for the ride. It's the client who's in the driver's seat. And when they feel that, as Elise said, it is so powerful. It's transformational for them. And it often frequently leads to other areas that they want to change. Because again, it's not just about food in isolation. It's not just about how much protein they should get. It's also all these other areas, their relationships, they have meaning in their life, the stress that's going on, their movement, what's bringing them joy. So we're asking these questions and pulling all of the aspects of their life together.
Yeah, it's so powerful. So with that, what are some creative ways of using a health coaching certification?
Boy, creativity is one of my top signature strengths. I think Elisa's as well. And so I just get so much joy when I hear about what people are doing. But really, the sky's the limit. We have people who have gotten together, a bunch of graduates, and they're writing a cookbook. And I got a chance to take a sneak peek, and it is so creative. They are looking at how to bring this information to their community. They are starting podcasts. They're appearing on podcasts. They're creating challenges. They're using Facebook communities, for example, to get people together and support one another. They are, we have one graduate who has chosen as her specialty decluttering. And she is now talking on summits, and she is, in fact, I'm going to be a guest on her summit. She's sponsoring a summit, and it's all about cleansing in terms of cleansing in all ways of decluttering. So there are just many different ways. People are going into the corporate world. They are looking at what were some of the areas that they had proficiency in before they came to coaching, whether it's marketing, graphic design, writing, and they're using those talents to go out and serve. We have one person, I love this story. She comes to my office hours. She's a nurse, and she's been going on into her hospital, and she's been leading groups. It started out small, and she just came to this idea while we were brainstorming in office hours, and she's going out and she's into where she works, and she's leading yoga classes and breathing, and people are taking notice. And more people are signing on. And so it's just having an idea and going with it. And we support those. Elisa and I love our office hours, and we love to support ideas which are so creative.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of ideas get born as well as an office hour. Sandy and I offer office hours 4 times a month, 2 for Sandy, 2 for myself. It's a great way to build community and connection and networking, get some ideas bubbling up. And there's, a couple other people came to mind as well. There's one person in particular who has built out his own curriculum and is utilizing that in a high school in his area, which is just super exciting. So being able to really spread this education to multiple people and support and empower them in making their own behavior changes. So really, like Sandy said, the sky is the limit. You can bring in your creativity, your imagination, and you can also partner with other practitioners, so you can stay in your lane and support people. So there is a ton of different things that you do. And if we end up talking on an admissions call, I usually end up sharing ideas with you because I'm full of them. So we'll move on to the next question here, which is, and Sandy did allude to this, but do health coaches specify diets? So let's dig into that a little bit more.
Yeah, so it's health coaches do not diagnose, they don't treat, they don't prescribe. And we look at what is in the best interests of that individual and what is going to keep you safe as a coach. So it is not the role of a coach to prescribe a particular diet. That's what a nutritionist does. Then that's the training that they have. And we also know, how many people do you know who've perhaps been to nutritionists and they're not out there doing it? I know Elise has training in nutrition, and she could tell you some of the stories of her college days and feeling like this wasn't right. And so it is not prescribing a diet, but it is really being with somebody and listening and questioning why and what would be, what do you think? And when you eat these foods, how do you feel? It's also looking at what foods did your mom and grandma, and what memories do you have around food? What gives you joy around food? And so we look at where a person is, their readiness to change. Some people are, yes, I really want to change. And in that case, we have the resources, the educational tools from the Institute for Functional Medicine's functional nutrition curriculum, where you can say, if they say, they're interested in a particular way of eating and want to learn more about it, you have access to those resources and you would provide that. Well, here's a good book. Are you interested in taking a look? Or here's a plan that has been developed. Would you like to look it over and see if this is right for you? So you're not directly saying you should be on this plan. You are bringing it to your offering as an educational tool. And then that person can decide. But the key is really that they are in charge. They're making that decision. They come to the decision that, every time I eat this way, I feel better. Or every time I'm tracking with my Aura ring and I get better sleep when I do this intermittent fasting. That happened to me the other day. I've been noticing things since I've been using a tracking device. And so nobody told me to eat a certain way. I discovered whoa, there's something to it. And what a coach does is help that person acknowledge that they have that power. And that is such an important message when somebody finds that, because what happens is people will think they have to buy into the latest dietary advice. We're so used to thinking that there's a one-size-fits-all approach and the world is ketogenic or plant-based and I better be that. But really the coach's role is to guide someone to think there's what's right for me and feel confident in making that choice.
Yeah, and most often I would just add, when you are working with a functional medicine health coach, you're working alongside someone who's traveled a similar journey as you're on right now, and they can totally relate to you. And that's not always the case with, medical professionals, and that's okay. But typically what we found is most people who come to the program have had some sort of positive outcome with functional medicine and or coaching, and they want to really pay that forward and support other people and continue growing and expanding the mission of functional medicine and coaching. So there's that, and there's also the aspect of really just nurturing the relationship with you and that coach, and then with yourself and your relationship to food. So there's so many positives that come out of coaching. This is a great question. I want to address this because it actually kind of hits near and dear to Sandy and I's heart. Does your program teach or support cancer nutrition?
Oh, yes. So, first of all, let me say that according to functional medicine, it's not disease specific. We look at digging down to the underlying pathways such as inflammation, metabolic disturbances. And so we find that whatever the disease is named, when you dig down to the root cause, it's remarkably similar to other conditions. So that's number one. Number two is that this is where it is really important to be mindful. So the answer is that depends. So there are people who are, let's say they're in a phase where they are receiving treatment, chemotherapy, radiation, might be on multiple medications. So it would be really important to work along with their practitioners so that any changes they're making would be something that their doctors know about. And that would be really important. But how did Elise and I use it? So I was on the staff at a hospital, and I was doing a lot of consults, working with people who had cancer. I would go into the hospital and I would listen to them, I would support them, I would teach them guided imagery, relaxed breathing, pain control techniques. And then one day decided, whoa, I see that these doctors, these oncologists had a staff kitchen, wasn't being used a lot. So I proposed that we came in and we did a group. So Elise and I, this went on for years, and it was a group of people. They had cancer for the most part, and they got together and it was whatever they wanted. So whatever they wanted to talk about and share, but sometimes they did want information. And so we would bring in things, we would show them how to, if they said, well, I've heard about smoothies, I'd like to know how to do that. And so, well, we'd bring in the blender and we'd give smoothie demos. But we're also always mindful. What was the key here? It was the importance of getting people together as a community. That was what was so healing. And then we were also always really mindful and respectful that the doctors were not in isolation, that they were a key part of this, and they were intrigued, and they started coming in and attending our sessions, and they were making changes as well. They were trying some of the food and making some of the changes. So in many instances there, we were educating, but we were always aware of what these people needed. It was client-centered, even in a group.
Yeah, absolutely. And there was another time where we had a client who was going through chemo and went over to her house and taught whoever was supporting her at the time, her family members, how to make some healing food, so bone broth, and how to make it or how to use it in a way that would be palatable for her. This was new to her, and so coming up with different ideas of ways to freeze it in ice cubes, how to use it, or to saute it with veggies or rice or whatever she was craving, so she could get some of that nutrition. And so there was so many different ways to use it, and the power of that community was just absolutely amazing and very strong.
It was fantastic, and it was nourishing for me and for Elise as well. We felt that we look forward to that, and I also want to point out again that it was not nutrition. It was not about diet. It was incorporating all of the many areas, particularly have to do with the what can you get, for example, those caregivers who felt helpless, they wanted to do something. And so when we gave them that recipe for bone broth, oh, chicken soup, this is something I can do. And it was a way that they were feeling useful. And we would often incorporate being aware of taste and enjoying. What did you enjoy about food? And also some breathing techniques, a way of helping digestive issues, giving thanks, focusing on, bringing in all of the mind-body medicine techniques, the imagery that we would use. Often it was discussion of memories of the healing that you would, when somebody in your family lovingly prepared some food for you.
Yeah. So there are so many different ways that you can utilize this and really bring community together as well. So I want to keep moving forward, and the next question is wondering regarding the functional medicine training and how much functional medicine training is there in this course?
A lot. So we take all of the IFM curriculum, and we are fortunate that we have on our faculty, senior faculty from IFM. We use their content, their slides, we modify it. We make sure that the content that's presented, how do you use it as a coach? So just as we're taking nutrition and we're talking about how you use this as a coach to be the educator, we're taking all of these principles of functional medicine and how do you use it? How do you explain to clients what some of these concepts like dysbiosis mean, for example? Functional medicine is about a timeline, about people sharing their story. That's an integral part of the coaching process where you help people have a different narrative.
And so for someone who doesn't want to become a doctor, is this course the best place for them to learn about functional medicine?
We will give you all of the functional medicine principles. So we have people who are not wanting to train to be physicians. We have a lot of physicians who are actually in the course and they are learning these functional medicine principles. What we will not provide are areas that are 100% specific to medical doctors. For example, a really deep dive into interpreting labs, a really deep dive into medications. Well, those aren't areas that are for coaches. And so we don't teach, we're not going to test you on the intricacies of cellular biology or memorizing all the steroid pathways, as I had to do when I took the IFM certification exam. We won't have you go down that path to learn about all the enzymatic reactions to each hormone.
Yeah, and similarly, same with anatomy and physiology and different disease pathways. We do not cover those. So can you talk about the percentage of time spent learning coaching methods versus the health and nutrition education?
Sure. So we are always focusing on the learning, the methods of coaching, and where does that happen? So you will get lectures on it. We have experts in coaching like Dr. Beth Frades and Monique Class will be teaching that through webinars. But really the magic happens in the cohort groups. Those are the live training sessions. You will have these, and this is where you really learn to practice, you practice those coaching skills, and you learn it with the support of a small cohort group. We're meeting over Zoom, and you are meeting that same group, and you meet for 2 hours, a couple times a month. You choose a time zone that's going to work for you, a day of the week and a time, and you get really close to your cohorts. And that's really where the coaching skills, so they're presented as concepts in webinars, but you will be practicing those in those cohort groups. You'll also see them in a series we call Coaching in Action, where you will see some of our faculty demonstrating in simulated coaching sessions what these skills look like.
So this is a great question. We get this question quite a bit, but if I'm already a health coach from another program, what will I gain by doing the FMCA course?
Sure. So I had said earlier that we're all have a beginner's mind, and sometimes each program might have a different twist on something, or sometimes you heard it once, or it was at a particular level and now you want a deeper dive, or you want the functional medicine curriculum paired with positive psychology and mind-body medicine. Perhaps you are focusing on just love of learning. That's a common thread, and that's why so many of our students have gone through prior programs. I think we'd say it's the norm that they've had some training before, and they are many people come because they want more skills. They want to deepen their learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I would also say there is a ton of support and community in this course. So if you are looking for a course that's really going to help you build your confidence and your coaching skills and really refine your coach approach or your style, you will get that in our live training sessions, the evidence-based curriculum. You'll also get a lot of support from Sandy and myself in our office hours. We love supporting our students. It is the highlight of our weeks when we have those. It's just a great place to ask questions, get feedback, and really just grow yourself as a coach. So there is quite a bit of differences, and I would also say that if you have specific questions on the differences between one program or another, I really encourage you to visit us on the website, or you can email admissions@functionalmedicinecoaching right now and connect with us and ask us a question. We'll call you tomorrow, or we can connect with you via Zoom or answer your question via email, but we are happy to answer those questions in depth.
Another thing I'm so happy about, it really brings me great joy because I'm a matchmaker at heart. I've even connected people and they've gone to get married. So I love to connect our graduates with people who may want to hire them, and I'm always helping out making those connections. And we have people in our alumni department who are doing that, who are working very hard to make those connections. We have a very robust alumni membership program, and we believe strongly that the support, having a mentor, having a guide, and so we are committed to that. And to help you in the process, I also might add that we have a whole new track that is providing everything that you will need, the base of building your business. And we have some world-renowned experts who are teaching for that. And so it's not just learning the content, but it's getting the confidence as well as the skills to go out, whether you want to work with a medical practice directly or whether you want to be 100% starting your own business. We support you both as a student and when you graduate.
Yeah, absolutely. I love this question. It's, how do you get someone to change? How do you motivate someone to change?
So they have to be ready. We can't make that happen. You can't motivate somebody, but we can ask those questions. So this is my favorite. It is really asking about, digging into what's meaningful for them. So what do you want your health for? What matters most to you? What would give you the greatest joy? What do you dream about? And then is there something you're ready to start today? Your doctor has said that it would be a good idea to cut down on the diet soda. What do you think about that? And so it's asking those questions. And so that's how they start to think about it. And suddenly they're motivated to change. So most important is what is meaningful to them. And it varies. What's for one person might not be for another, but it's asking those bigger questions about what they really want out of life. What is most satisfying? What's bringing the most joy for them? What kind of future do they want? What do they, what again sparks that joy? And so that's really that conversation can lead to them saying, yeah, I think I will try that. I think I'm gonna make it. I think I'm ready to do this.
Absolutely. And it's those questions and curiosity is one of my top strengths. And I remember, to Sandy's point, in my undergraduate studies, studying to become a registered dietitian, we were not taught how to ask these kind of questions. It was very much the expert approach, very directive. And that was my main question, was health is so much more than food and nutrition. How do we get there? And we get there by asking those kind of questions. And so I was curious. I dug deeper and went on and got a double master's in nutrition and clinical health psychology. But it wasn't until then, going through a master's program, where those tools and skills were available to me. And I really had to unlearn a lot of what I had originally learned. And the beautiful thing is that you don't have to go to a graduate studies program to learn that, because you get it all in one in this program. It's amazing.
Yeah, and so Elisa's program integrated nutrition and the health psychology piece. That's exactly what we're doing. We're not teaching just nutrition, just here's the distribution of protein and fats and carbs, and okay, you just give that to the client and tell them, I have a program for you that will be plant-based, or I'm going to have you go paleo. We know that doesn't work. It's really when you look at what somebody's eating, where they want to change, are they ready for change in the context of all of the other aspects of their life. And they come to that decision, they put it together, and then they can use the content that our coaches will have that comes from the nutritional experts. If somebody says, yeah, I want to learn more about this approach, well, here's a good resource. Are you interested in reading this?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have time for one more question, and I love this open-ended question. What are the possible work avenues in this field, and is a 1-year certification enough?
So a 1-year certification is will give you everything that you need, and it will allow you to become board certified. because that's enough. When you get that gold standard, when you take that exam from the national board, you're board certified as a health coach, and what's the future? It's big. So health coaching has been approved for Category 3 health and wellness coaching through that is the codes that lead to down the road to insurance reimbursement. That's very exciting. Every day I get alerts as emails, and I see new positions opening up. Companies are really hiring coaches. They're recognizing the need. I talked to somebody very excited about, he's hiring FMCA graduates, and they are merging with companies that are building platforms for integrating all of your tracking, like from continuous glucose monitoring, for example. We are also have medical experts who teach for us and who are talking about the tremendous rise in group medical visits. And we teach you that model where you can work with practitioners, and these are programs that are very exciting, virtual, which is how you're trained, and so you'll be the one who can really help practitioners to lead the way in virtual. So a lot of exciting areas in corporate wellness, working with practitioners, and just as a rule, the need for more and more coaches. We're seeing that every year increases.
Yeah, and on that point, I just have to share, I remember in grad school, I was getting this double master's and I was so sick, and all I wished for was a health coach, someone who had the knowledge and the skills and the tools, who could see me through, see the blind spots, support me, cheerlead me on, provide accountability, and educate me in areas that I didn't know. And now we need you more than ever, because there are so many people who are struggling and they need the coach approach. So with that, I would just encourage you, if you still have questions, please take a moment to visit our website, functionalmedicinecoaching.org, connect with one of our graduates and our admissions team members. We are here to support you and to answer your questions and to truly guide you to the right choice for you. And we look forward to connecting with you soon. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend with us.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm honored that you were here. And if you did not get a question answered, please reach out. And it's, again, we love to serve the community. It is our big mission to train people to become coaches. The world needs you. The medical system needs you. And this is a wonderful time to be a health coach. So thank you all. Bye.